Good morning. It's your girl. And yeah, the weekend was crazy. Anywho, stay tuned. I got something special for you today. What's up, everybody? How you doing? Look, this isn't a rumor. This is not social media drama. On November 1st, 2025, the Supplemental Nutritional Assistant Program, better known as SNAP, will not be issuing any new benefits for the next month, for the month of November. I know. That means, right, that November deposits for roughly 41 million Americans. People can still access what's left on their cards, but there will be no new benefits added, right? If it runs out, that's it. No refill, no backup. This isn't a minor inconvenience, people. It really isn't. This is the country's largest food assistance program, and it's frozen in political gridlock because the Republicans do not care. They run everything. They control everything. They're saying it's the Democrats, right? But the problem is really them. The Democrats is trying to make sure that your insurance premium doesn't go up 114%, because that's what will happen next year. They're trying to make sure everybody gets benefits, and they keep saying, like, the Republicans keep lying. Please stop listening to them. The Republicans saying it's because they want to give immigrants insurance. No, that's not it. They want to make sure your premium for you working that actually pay for your insurance, your premium doesn't go up. Believe what you want, but go look it up. Go look it up, because it's just ridiculous. See, SNAP is how working families, single parents, seniors, students keep food on the table. This money isn't free, you guys. They have to have jobs to get the assistance. It's not free. And then later on, when they no longer need it, they have to pay that back. Bet you didn't know that. Yes, they have to pay it back because the government will garnish your wages. I'm just saying. It's true. I looked all this up because I don't know none of this, but I looked it all up and seen, like, holy cow, that's crazy. And most of the recipients, I keep telling you, aren't just sitting at home doing nothing. They're not. Many are employed. Yeah, there's some that's not employed. Some of them are retired. They catch SSI or disability, right? Because often, as y'all know, jobs don't pay you enough to keep up with the rent, all the bills, and buy groceries. That's a lot, unless you got a really good job. But for the average American, a lot of times they're making peanuts, $15 an hour or less. You understand what I'm saying? And what's crazy is SNAP just fills in the gaps. It doesn't pay for their whole thing. They don't get like $7,000 something in food or nothing like that. They get a few $100s a month. That's nothing. We just sent already to Israel $21.7 billion for a war that has nothing to do with us. We also helped the Ukraine, sent them $25.9 billion to help them with their war. We helping everybody else but ourselves. That's crazy. See, but when the government shuts down, that lifeline gets all tangled up in red tape. And that's what they like, because, see, the Republicans always been greedy. I like the older Republicans, though, because they had a lot more humanitarian efforts than these radicals right here. A lot more is what I'm saying. So, look, because SNAP is federally funded, the U.S. Department of Agriculture can't legally send out new payments. If they could, they probably would, without congressional approval. And you know who runs Congress and all the House, the Senate, the DOJ, everything. Yeah, Republicans. They really just don't care. Especially the people under him, they're loyalists. And it's sad. You know what I mean? Because the USDA, they've already told states that November benefits can't be issued under the current shutdowns. I hated to say it, but they let them know as soon as they knew. They put up signs and put it on their website so people would know. In some states like Georgia and Connecticut and Illinois, they confirmed it. Like November 1st, there's nothing. And look, they just warning their residents like, hey, just know that whatever you got now is that please plan ahead and maybe look at other food resources like food banks. So can you imagine the food banks already struggle every year, right? Now they got quadruple the problem they had before. So I don't know how they're going to do it. I'm hoping that more Americans actually donate. Please, you guys, donate more because I hate to see people hungry. You know what I'm saying? That's not a good look. It's bad enough we got homeless people here and we shouldn't have that either. See, but let's put all of this in perspective, right? Say this. Let's say you're a single mother working about 30 hours a week and you might get like $280 in SNAP benefits per month. Like that's your grocery money for the month. You might have to come out and, get like maybe milk or something like that. Basic stuff that doesn't cost a lot. But that 280 is probably for the whole month for you, right? And it's for grocery money, lunches for your kids if they don't get free lunch in school. They try to do away with that too. So, and then you got to think about this: family dinners, planning that out. That's a lot. And without that deposit, the mother she has two choices, right? She can cut back on food, their intake, or rely on the food banks. But you're already overwhelmed, as I told you. That's tough. I know, I'll say this. People of color are accustomed to stuff like this. So we actually can survive off a lot less. I'm just saying. Not saying you want to, but if you had to, man, with a bag of rice, some beans, come on now. We're going to eat. It just might not be as grand as we usually eat. When I say grand, is meaning like, a variety of meals. Maybe we're eating the same meal for a week. Do you know what I'm saying? That type of thing. See, food banks across the country are calling this a man-made disaster. It's true, because if the Republicans had more of a community attitude and not a me, mine, if they didn't have that attitude, we would do so much better. And nobody has even really complained about the money they sent out of the country until now. Now that we're being deprived, that's messed up. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Because we got food here, right? And the need is real. The need to eat is real. There's no way that anybody in America should be hungry. No kid should ever be hungry, even though we know there's a lot of kids and adults that go to bed hungry at night. That bothers me. It does. But see, the money pipeline is always jammed up with some sort of politics. Like, why is it always like that? The USDA said it won't dip into their emergency reserves at this time, basically saying they don't have a cushion. And the way this guy is running things, you see what he did to the White House. That's a whole nother story, y'all. So November 1st, the funding faucets turn off, right? So I think about it, right? And I say, this isn't about households. It's about entire communities. We're talking about real communities that are going to be suffering. SNAP dollars don't disappear in thin air. It doesn't. It does not disappear like that, right? It gets circulated. Everything. You buy from the grocery store. This grocery store is able to pay for the food. The manufacturer of the food or farm that you get the food from, they're able to pay for the delivery trucks to bring the food to the grocery stores. It's a whole thing, y'all. See, it also pays the cashier, the truck driver, the farmer. So when SNAP stops, local grocery stores feel it too. So now those prices, they start to rise. And economists say, I wrote all this down. They estimate that every dollar in SNAP spending generates about $1.50 in the local economy, every dollar. So when 41 million people can't buy groceries, that's like a shockwave to a local grocery store or community. For the small town markets, the little corner stores and stuff like that, everything is super expensive. It's already expensive anyway at some of the corner stores, depending on where you're at. But those prices will go up. That's crazy, right? Here's what gets lost, like in the sauce. SNAP recipients, they're not stereotypes. Because people think the stereotypical person that receives it is a person of color, mostly black people. You would be wrong about that. 37%, and the highest in this country on SNAP, are white people. The largest group of benefactors are white people. The majority of adults are workers. They work people. People think they sit down. They can't sit home. They're workers. People who clean your building, who stock shelves, who care for children, who serve you food, and the rest of us. The shutdown doesn't punish laziness. It punishes people making low wages. It hits people who already have the hardest jobs with the smallest pay. For real. But like the bigger question in my mind is this, right? If the government can pause food assistance for millions during this political budget fight, what does it really say about their priorities? We know they don't give a shit about us. Yeah, I said that. They don't care about the people. Because I tell you what never pauses. Rent never pauses. Mortgage never pauses. They're going to want that. Ease up off the money. And guess what? Kids don't stop growing. They don't. What we're witnessing here, people, isn't a fiasco debate. Nah, that ain't it. That would be just okay, right? It's a moral test, and we're failing. Our country has failed. You can tell they have no morals. This guy just tore down a very vital part of the White House with no regard. So look, that means that we're a nation that can't feed its working poor while arguing over taxes and tax breaks. We have lost sight of what it means to function as a community. So look, this is like the reality of the whole thing. Unless lawmakers could come up to an agreement, November 1st, 2025, SNAP benefits will go silent. There'll be no new benefits, no new deposits, just silence where food money should have been. And look, for those millions of Americans that are your co-workers, your friends, your family members, it's not about policy. It's about dinner. Yeah, dinner. Because this is what happens when the safety net stops working. Look, I still need you to get up. Yeah, you. Get up, get out, and please support your local food banks. They're really going to need you this year. I'm just saying.